Okay, so picture this. You're at a dinner party.
Oh, boy.
Right. Or maybe you're just in the break room at work pouring some coffee.
Sure.
You're feeling good. You're feeling completely normal. And then someone turns to you and asks the absolute simplest question in the human language.
Like what?
Something like, so what do you do? Or even worse, what's your name?
And suddenly the screen just goes completely black.
Total system failure. It's not just that you forget the answer because obviously you know your own name. It's like your brain has physically unplugged itself from the socket.
Yes, the dreaded brain freeze.
Exactly. And I was reading through our source material for today, this guide called Speak English with Class, which dives into the psychology of communication. And they have this absolutely perfect analogy for it.
The smartphone one.
Yeah. They describe your brain in that moment as a smartphone on, like 5% battery.
Right.
The screen is dim, your apps are crashing, the phone is literally overheating in your hand.
Yeah.
Technically it is turned on, but it is entirely non-functional.
It's the buffering wheel of death. And what's really fascinating to me about this deep dive isn't just the language learning aspect of it.
Right, because the source is framed around English learners.
Exactly. But everything we are talking about today is just pure cognitive psychology. I mean, this happens to native speakers constantly.
Oh,
it happens to CEOs. It happens to me.
It's that page not found error. You know the information is on the server somewhere in your head, but the link is just broken.
Yep.
And the feeling is so physical, right? Your heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty. It's like your thoughts are running a marathon at full speed, but your mouth is stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Nothing is getting out.
Nothing.
And that physical reaction is actually the key to this whole mystery. We usually kind of think of this as a vocabulary problem or an intelligence problem.
I'm like, oh, I'm just not smart enough to answer this quickly.
Right. But the research suggests it's actually a hardware issue. It's a physiological glitch caused by pressure.
So let's diagnose this glitch. Because the thing that drives me absolutely crazy, and I think drives everyone crazy, is that this usually happens with the easy stuff.
Always the easy stuff.
Like, if you ask me to explain the plot of some complex sci-fi movie I just watched, I might stumble a bit, sure. But how was your weekend? Why does that question completely wipe my memory banks?
It's so counterintuitive. But the material points to something called the perfect sentence trap.
The perfect sentence trap.
Yeah. And this is essentially perfectionism acting as a defense mechanism. Think about it. When the question is simple, the stakes actually feel weirdly higher.
Because you feel like you should easily know the answer.
Exactly. So your brain doesn't just want an answer, it wants the perfect answer.
It wants the 5-star review version of your weekend.
Yes. It wants perfect grammar, the perfect witty little anecdote, the perfect accent if you happen to be speaking a second language.
Wow.
And this creates a massive amount of what psychologists call cognitive load. You are trying to process the social cue, retrieve the memory, formulate the syntax, and edit your tone, all at the exact same time.
The notes actually used an analogy that hit way too close to home for me.
The texting one.
Yeah, texting. You know when you're typing a message to someone you really want to impress?
Oh, absolutely.
You type, hey, and then you hit backspace. Then you type, hi there, backspace. Then hello, backspace.
And meanwhile, the other person is just staring at those 3 little dots bobbing up and down on their screen.
It's waiting. And eventually they probably just put their phone down.
The big difference is, in a text message, you have the luxury of a delete button.
Right.
In a live face-to-face conversation, there is no backspace. But your brain is still trying to use one anyway. It is editing in real time.
And that real-time editing is what causes the awkward silence.
Precisely. The silence isn't emptiness. It's a traffic jam of rejected drafts.
That makes so much sense.
Your brain is shouting, no, that sounds stupid, or no, that's too simple, or that's grammatically risky. And while your internal editor is screaming all of this, your mouth just stays shut.
That is the don't say the wrong thing voice. I have a very loud, very active relationship with that voice.
We all do. And here's where it gets deeply biological. That fear of saying the wrong thing triggers the amygdala.
Which is the brain's fear center.
Right. And this leads directly to what's known as the spotlight effect.
Is that the thing where you feel like everyone in the room is just staring at you?
Yes, but specifically, it's the sensation that a bright, harsh interrogation light has just been swung right onto your face.
Oh, wow.
From an evolutionary standpoint, being watched and judged was actually dangerous. It meant you might get kicked out of the tribe.
Which back then meant you'd starve.
Exactly. So when that spotlight hits you, even if it's literally just a casual crushing at a networking party, Your brain interprets it as a mortal threat.
So my brain honestly thinks, if I get this weekend recap wrong, I am going to die.
Essentially, yes. It throws you straight into fight or flight mode.
Geez.
And when you are in fight or flight, the logic centers of your brain, the parts that handle complex language and vocabulary, they get totally deprioritized.
Because you don't need vocabulary to run away from a predator.
Right. The blood flow literally shifts away from those areas. That's why you can't remember your favorite movie. Your brain is too busy looking for a tiger to remember who directed The Godfather.
Okay, that perfectly explains the word delay phenomenon mentioned in the research.
The shy cat.
Yes, the shy cat under the sofa. They describe the exact word you need as a shy cat. You know the cat is there. You can literally see its tail sticking out.
Yep.
You're calling, "Here, kitty, come out!" But the louder you shout and the harder you try to grab it, the further back under the sofa it crawls.
That is a textbook description of anomic aphasia, that classic tip-of-the-tongue state.
Anomic aphasia.
Right. Stress makes the cat hide.
Yeah.
The harder you try to force the word out, the more stress you generate, and the harder it becomes to access your own vocabulary. It becomes this vicious repeating cycle.
Okay, but here is where I feel like I have to push back a little bit.
Go for it.
We are talking about this like it's a universal tragedy, but in the business world, or even just hanging out in social circles, speed is kind of a currency.
It is perceived that way, yes.
Right. We admire the people who are quick-witted, who can snap back with an answer instantly. So isn't the ultimate goal to just train yourself to get faster?
That is the great misconception. And the source material is very, very firm on this point. There is a massive difference between thinking fast and speaking fast.
Okay, go on.
We constantly conflate fluency with velocity. We think if we aren't talking at 100 miles per hour, we're going to look stupid or incompetent.
I definitely feel that pressure.
But the analogy the text uses is driving a car. If you drive a Ferrari at its absolute top speed, but you don't have a map, where are you actually going?
You're just driving really, really fast into a ditch.
Exactly. You're making a lot of noise, you're burning a ton of gas, but you aren't arriving anywhere. That is what speaking fast without clarity is like.
So the speed is an illusion of competence.
Yes. The person listening to you honestly does not care how fast you talk. They only care if they can understand you.
Right.
Understood English, or just understood communication in general, is the only metric that actually matters.
So clarity beats speed every time. But let's be real here for a second. Slow can feel incredibly painful.
It can.
If I am taking 5 full seconds to answer a question, I feel like I am completely wasting everyone's time. I feel foolish.
But that's just your internal perception. This is a crucial point. Time feels very different to the speaker than it does to the listener.
Really?
Absolutely. To you, a 3-second pause feels like an hour. You're sweating. But to the listener, it feels like thoughtful consideration.
Oh, that's interesting.
It actually projects confidence, not incompetence. Taking your time shows you aren't rushing just to appease them.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. My brain thinks it's being hunted by a tiger. My internal editor is deleting all my rough drafts, and I am terrified of awkward silence.
A perfect storm.
How do we actually fix this? The research offers a few concrete strategies, and it starts with what they call resetting the hardware.
Right. You have to deal with the physiological response first.
And the suggestion here is, drumroll please, breathing.
The restart button.
I have to be brutally honest with you. When I read that, I rolled my eyes so hard.
I know.
It feels like the generic advice you get for literally everything. Just breathe. If I am in a high-stakes meeting and the CEO asks me a direct question, I can't just close my eyes and do a loud yoga breath. I will look insane.
I completely get that. It sounds way too simple to be effective. But we have to go back to the biology we talked about.
The fight or flight thing.
Exactly. The only way to tell your amygdala that there is no tiger in the boardroom is to physically control your breath.
So I have to do yoga in the boardroom.
No, you don't have to close your eyes and chant. It's just a micropause. One deep, controlled inhale through the nose.
So it's like sneaky breathing.
It's tactical breathing. And it does 2 vital things. 1, it oxygenates the brain, which you desperately need. But 2, it breaks that panic loop.
It sends a physical signal.
Yes. It signals to your nervous system, we are safe. And until you send that specific signal, your language center is going to stay offline. You simply cannot build a solid sentence on a shaking foundation.
Okay, fine. I take my tactical breath. I've successfully convinced my brain we aren't dying today.
Step 1 complete.
But I still don't actually know what to say. Which brings us to the second strategy, preparation And the pause pillow.
I love the term pause pillow. It sounds so much nicer and softer than just calling it stalling.
It really does, but isn't it basically just stalling?
It is, but it is functional stalling. A pause pillow is a specific phrase you use to buy yourself cognitive bandwidth.
Like what?
Phrases like, that is a really interesting question, or let me think about that for just a second.
Or, give me a moment to gather my thoughts on that.
Exactly. Now, to you, in the hot seat, it feels like you were just filling dead air. But to the listener, you are actively validating their question.
You're making them feel heard.
Yes, you're acknowledging them. And critically, you are buying yourself 2 or 3 precious seconds of processing time.
The notes called it opening the drawer.
Yes. That is such a great image. You aren't empty-headed. You are just rummaging through your mental file cabinet to find the correct file.
And the pause pillow just covers the sound of the rummaging.
Precisely. It masks the buffering.
And what about the preparation side of things? The notes mentioned this idea of putting your shoes by the door.
This is all about combating decision fatigue.
Okay.
Think about it. If you have to invent an answer from scratch every single time someone asks, where are you from, or what do you do, you are wasting precious brain energy.
Because you're answering those questions constantly.
You're right. You should have those basic answers pre-scripted.
Kind of like a politician walking in with their talking points.
In a way, yeah. If you know the what do you do answer by heart, you don't have to stress about the grammar or the phrasing. You just deploy it.
It gives your brain a relaxed entry point into the conversation.
It's exactly like stretching before a run. You warm up the engine before you have to do the heavy lifting.
Okay, so we are calm, we have bought some time, we've stretched. Now we have to actually speak.
The hard part.
Strategy 3 is about structural shortcuts. And this is where I think my ego really gets in the way.
How so?
Well, the advice here is to use simple structures, short sentences, paraphrasing. But honestly, I want to sound smart.
We all do.
I want to use complex clauses and big SAT words. If I intentionally speak in simple, short sentences, won't I just sound like a child?
That is easily the most common fear I hear when discussing this. People think simple equals stupid.
It feels that way.
But look at the greatest communicators in history. Look at Hemingway. Look at Steve Jobs. Did they use complex, winding sentences with 5 subordinate clauses?
No. Stay hungry. Stay foolish.
That's pretty simple. Exactly. Simple does not mean childish. Simple means clear. And the research uses a really brilliant analogy here, the shopping bag theory.
Oh, this one stuck with me. Explain this one.
Imagine your working memory is your 2 hands. You could only carry so much weight at once.
Right.
If you try to carry 10 shopping bags at the same time, meaning you're trying to manage complex grammar, a perfect accent, 3 different ideas, and a joke all at once, something is going to fall.
You are definitely going to drop the eggs.
And dropping the eggs is when you start stuttering, or when you completely lose your train of thought halfway through a sentence.
So the advice is just carry 1 bag.
Carry 1 bag at a time. Say, I think X because Y. Stop. Take a breath. My opinion is Z. Stop.
Keep the runway short.
Yes. When you shorten the runway, you are significantly less likely to crash the plane.
It's all about preserving bandwidth. If I'm not using 90% of my brain power just trying to navigate a maze of a sentence, I can use that energy to actually connect with the person I'm talking to.
Precisely. And there's a specific technique called paraphrasing that helps immensely here too.
Echoing the question back to them.
Right. If someone asks, what do you think about the new marketing rollout and its potential impact on Q4? That is a very heavy bag to catch.
You've been awkward.
So you start by just echoing it. You say, the new marketing rollout.
Which buys you time.
It buys time, but it also clarifies the topic for your own brain.
Yeah.
It focuses your attention on the core subject. It's not just stalling, it's actually loading the prompt into your mental system.
Okay, I want to move to the final strategy because this is the one that feels the most actionable, but honestly also the most terrifying.
Strategy 4.
Strategy 4, listening and improv. The source material compares active listening to cooking. Can you break that down for us?
So often when we freeze up, it's because we feel like we have to cook a gourmet meal entirely out of thin air. We feel the burden of inventing the entire conversation ourselves.
Right.
But if you are truly listening, and I mean active listening, not just politely waiting for your turn to speak, the other person is actually handing you ingredients.
They're doing the grocery shopping for you.
Exactly. If they say, I am so exhausted, the traffic coming here was a total nightmare, they just handed you 2 prime ingredients, exhausted and traffic.
You don't need to invent a brand new topic.
No, you just cook with what they gave you. You say, oh man, traffic is the worst. Where were you driving in from? Boom, you're cooking.
But the problem is, usually I'm not listening to the ingredients at all. I am standing there with an empty pan, panicking, trying to remember a funny story I heard a week ago so I can sound interesting.
That is what they call the empty pan conversation. You completely miss the human connection because you are too busy rehearsing your own solo performance in your head.
So to get better at this, to actually get better at thinking on your feet and using the ingredients, the research suggests doing actual improv games.
Yes.
Like literally playing games with yourself or a friend.
The whole goal is to bypass that internal editor we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You want to train the neural pathway between your brain and your mouth to be a straight highway, not a confusing maze.
Let's try it right now.
Oh, right now.
Yeah. One of the games is word association. I say a word, you say the very first thing that pops into your head. No filtering, no judgment. Ready?
I'm a little nervous, but ready. Let's do it.
Grapple.
Pie.
Path.
Rock.
Rock.
Heavy.
See? That was super fast. But be honest, did you feel that little split second where you wanted to say something smarter than just heavy?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you said math,
Yeah.
my brain immediately wanted to say Pythagoras.
But hard came out first.
Yeah, hard came out first. And you know what? Hard is honest.
And that's the whole point, right? To get comfortable letting the good enough word come out instead of pausing the whole conversation to wait for the perfect word.
Exactly. Another great variation they mentioned is the 30-second story.
How does that one work?
You literally just point at an object in the room, like a lamp or a coffee mug, and you force yourself to talk about it for 30 solid seconds.
Does it have to be a good story?
Not at all. It doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to be interesting. You just have to keep the words moving out of your mouth.
Like keeping the shark swimming so it doesn't die?
Exactly. It trains the muscle of recovery. If you stumble over a word, you just keep going. You train your brain to learn that a mistake isn't a cliff you fall off of. It's just a pothole in the road. You just drive right over it.
It sounds like the overarching theme of all these strategies is really just forgiveness.
Wow. That is a really beautiful way to put it.
Well, it really is, isn't it? We are so incredibly hard on ourselves. We treat every casual conversation like it's a final exam we're about to fail.
We really do.
But the toolkit we've discussed today, the tactical breathing, the pause pillows, leaning into simple sentences, it's all just about giving yourself permission to be human.
It's about lowering the stakes. The Speak English with Class material highlights this perfectly in the word tour section at the end.
Let's look at those terms quickly as we wrap up. They mention the word perceive.
Right. How you're seen by others. It's about realizing that people actually perceive a calm, thoughtful, slow speaker as far more competent than a frantic, fast one.
The next phrase is get your point across.
That's the core mission. Did your message land? If the answer is yes, you win. Perfect grammar is entirely secondary to getting the point across.
Then there's on the same page.
Connection. Are we understanding each other? That feeling of shared understanding is infinitely more valuable than a perfectly conjugated verb.
And finally, think on your feet.
Which again does not mean run on your feet. It means standing your ground, taking a deep breath, and responding with the ingredients you actually have in that moment.
You know, I think my absolute favorite takeaway from this whole deep dive is the idea of the empty pan. It is such a haunting image.
It really sticks with you, doesn't it?
It does, because it makes me wonder how many times have I been in a conversation with someone I really care about, or maybe someone I really wanted to get to know, and I just missed the whole thing.
You weren't present.
Right. I was physically standing there, but mentally I was in the back room, completely stressed out, trying to write a script for a play that wasn't even happening.
You were buffering.
I was buffering, and meanwhile, they were right there handing me ingredients, they were giving me social cues, emotions, little stories, and I just dropped all of them because I was trying to carry way too many shopping bags.
And that is the true tragedy of perfectionism. It isolates you.
It really does.
The goal of communication is never to impress people, it's to connect with them.
Yeah.
And you simply cannot connect if you are hiding behind a massive wall of anxiety.
So here is the challenge for everyone listening out there, and honestly a challenge for myself too.
Let's hear it.
This time someone asks you a completely simple question, and you start to feel that familiar heat rising up the back of your neck.
The spotlight.
The spotlight. Don't try to be smart. Don't try to be fast. Just take a breath, open the drawer, and just cook with the ingredients you actually have.
The omelet might not get a Michelin star, but it will be real. And at the end of the day, that is what people actually want.
Something to chew on for sure. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
See you next time.